Movement in video games. A topic that too often ends with game developers adding a sprint button, maybe a jump one if they feel daring, and calling it quits. What a pity this is. More pitiable than people unironically discuss politics online when good movement can add so much to a game. Imagine Warframe without mashing Control Space W, Souls-like games without rolling, League of Legends without racism. Removing even simple features like these detracts so much from the flow of action, it suffocates it completely. Even something simple like time dashing implements so much nuance into an action game and doesn't make it Dark Souls clone, shut the fuck up news outlet, that it instantly makes the combat two painters painting over holes more satisfying. That's why I appreciate when a game makes its movement so great that it single-handedly forces me to spend a week of my life making a video about it while depressed. With that said,
ladies and gentlemen,
the Pathless.
every great review obviously starts with mentioning the most mid aspects of the work discussed, and for Pathless, that's the story. You ever heard what mythology is? You know the animal, what was it called again? Bird? You know of the color? Red? Well, congratulations! You have made this game's story. You play as a young hunter, tasked to purify a curse placed on the children gods of an elder hawk god, which reincarnates into the bird that is your companion for the entire game. I think. I don't know. I was too busy playing Poe for most of the cutscenes in order to pay attention. The story is just there. Not really adding anything, not really detracting anything. Like a Redditor in a normal social circle. You don't really care about it, you blank on the Sith-looking ass villain, and you really only remember the hawk nuzzling you after cleaning him from Firecom. Speaking of Firecom... the main gameplay cycle of Pathless involves getting fast as fuck off speed emblems, dashing around on your scraped ass knees and then hitting a bush, losing all momentum in a hush, running to a ruin, easy stupid puzzle doing, getting your participation award, a super gold emblem glowy, finding the nearest twin tower, climbing it, not bombing, getting caught and by a Firecom storm storming, your bird blown away, Blastoise in the corner squirming, you do repetitive puzzle, and you get him back, clean him off a Firecom and let's get gliding back. You get the gist of it. Even though the gameplay cycle is very repetitive, the monuments and their puzzles pretty boring, and seeing a storm next to a tower blood-curdling, just the sliding. The mechanic of having a stamina-based sprint that's regenerated by your environment, specifically by shooting arrows at little environmental thingies, is more addicting than DMing celebrities' photos of fat Pikachu. The swish of the arrow flying makes you anticipate your speed boost, and getting caught in a tree sometimes makes your heart rush quickly to find another dose of speed to not lose this momentum of getting high. Okay, we've already gotten into talking about crack, but you get what I mean. You really feel like you're leaping through the woods like Spider-Man, hitting targets like John Wick, crashing into a tree like Paul Walker. It really juts out of the game like the London Eye out of London or childhood trauma out of a verified Twitter user. Now, you've got a great movement system like this, so you just build your game around it and... oh wait, yeah, they didn't do that. It's like YouTubers who always get involved in drama. Everything they do well, one step they fuck up the next. But the first step actually happened in this case. For example, after beating the tutorial boss, you unlock an ability that allows you to glide. A pretty tried and tested mechanic, used to traverse far distances by sacrificing height, physics lesson over, alright, and even though I personally think it could be a bit faster, you know, it's a fine addition to the game. Now, later, you unlock an upgrade to this ability that allows you to flap mid-glide. You would think this would work as a sort of double jump, a way to gain some extra height while still remaining speedy. But when you press the button... you notice that? You lose all momentum. So, What could have been used as a cool little, jump boost ends up being a "this is how you scale cliffs in this game, kids" button. Pathless fills a watering can to go water the flowers, and then waters the grass on the way. Pathless gets dressed to go to prom, and then enters the hall in the Crocs. It's actually kind of inspiring how many logs they can throw under their feet and still have Crocs. Crocs? What the fuck? For example, all of the main puzzles are stationary. Why not make puzzles that would incorporate the momentum of the movement somehow? You need inspiration? Look to Ori, a game that also has amazing movement mechanics, but look how they incorporate them. Races, timing puzzles, many different environmental boosts, even using enemies as jump pads. So many different things, including the NPCs talking in a funny voice, that make it one of the most fun 2D games I've played in my life. Why not add similar things to Pathless's world? About the world. At the outset, the world of Pathless looks beautiful. Stunning fields, lush forests, vivid color scheme, interesting ruins, world not too big, world not too small. At the outset is the most important term, because this passage rings less and less true with each successive location. For example, the game's last location. It takes place in a frozen wasteland, which is one of my favorite environment pieces in other games. Think Winter and Don't Starve or Cliffhanger Mission in COD, but in Pathless, it's watching paint dry on 0.25 speed. It only consists of empty plains, boring cliff faces, and a vast fuck all. There's a cool castle and some caves, but other than that, it feels 50% done. It feels unfinished. It feels like more prototype than based. Translator's note: prototype is based. It's the most extreme example, alright, but it's the ending that the game itches closer towards since you leave the tutorial. In the first location, everything felt like a home-baked pizza. Fresh, new, you didn't know food could get this saucy. But once you climb the tower and realize it's empty environment sprinkled with occasional ruins and dripped with a useless currency that only serves to get more flaps, which are useless, you come to realize it's not that
gaming.
Even the fun traversal can distract you from the crushing fact that there is simply nothing to do besides going from boring puzzle to boring puzzle, nothing besides hoarding currency that fills a meaningless purpose, nothing besides zooming around on your scraped ass knees until you come to a realization. Maybe going fast was never that fun. Maybe gliding off of tall places is not an amazing mechanic. No, impossible, you think. I could never get bored being so fast, speedy, and high, but an unknown feeling starts swelling in your heart regardless. Is it despair of finding what you once thought valuable valueless? Anxiety of your time potentially being wasted? Depression of knowing the game will probably leave you unsatisfied and crying into the night?
I have a question for God. Why?
And then you fight a boss. Even though this section is dedicated to combat, your only combatants are the couple of bosses the game throws at you. Which is a pity because there could be enemies in the open world that would make it a lot less boring, but bosses, am I right? Or in other ways, are they fun? It's a thing that could be said by someone, somewhere. Every boss in Pathless has two stages, a chase stage and a duel stage, let's call them that. You can probably guess which one my momentum addicted head likes more. The chase stage consists of you chasing down your guy, shooting his platoon of eyes while he constantly runs away from you. This phase isn't without fault, as it's basically a glorified go fast until you catch up, shoot his weak spot, repeat, but it's pretty fun. You build momentum, you slide around, evading fire pits and fireballs, you do movement, the best thing the game does. Spider-Man, John Wick, remember? However, after shooting out all your dear friends' eyes, you enter the much more boring, stationary, I'm in a bullet hell phase, Morty! Phase. It's not absolutely terrible, there's at least a bit of joy you gain from learning the boss's moveset, if we could even call it that, and shooting the eyes brings a bit of satisfaction in his presentation, but after the novelty wears out, there's not much left. Not much besides the audio visuals. Look, I'm gonna do the thing again, where I make a terrible jump transition to the next topic and interlace it with an overdone montage, because I hope it will become funny sometime. Wait, I'm not getting cut off? If you know what Abzu is, know the same guys made Pathless, or have eyes, you will notice the game is fucking beautiful. It's not hyper-realistic, 24K textures, real-time ray tracing, or DLSS upscaling. It's a great art style, spectacular color work, and the Journey art guy. The music... much better. It's also as mesmerizing and enchanting as the art, about as expected from the Journey music guy. These amazing things coupled make me think if I really want to glide faster, if I want to shit on the bad things, if I want to play Poe. However, the more I praise the audio visuals, the more I realize it could be better, that it needed a few more steps, that it had potential, the more I want to turn it against itself. It could be better. It's not. It needed a few steps, but it didn't take them. It had a potential, but it's still the indie game that could have been great. Hey, thanks for getting all the way here. It was a solid trip, eh? I hope. Please validate me. Anyway, if you liked it, do the likies and subscribies, and I'll see you next week. Hopefully. Yeah, that's about it. Goodbye!